Hello and welcome to a new series I call the Hebrew Bible. Now, in each episode of the series, we're going to devote just a few minutes to a couple of verses from the Hebrew Bible, going in chronological order. So, obviously, today we're going to start out with Genesis and speak about Genesis 1 to 3. And to do that, I'm going to first read the Hebrew original version and then the translated English version of the King James Bible. So let us begin. I feel like I need to preface the reading of the Bible or the first 3 lines of the Bible by saying that like almost any or every Hebrew speaker, I can recite it by heart. I mean, in Israel, we study the Bible from the 2nd grade until the end of high school, and obviously it's in our discussions all the time. So this is the beginning of the Bible, the first 3 lines in Hebrew. בראשית ברא אלוהים את השמיים ואת הארץ, והארץ הייתה תוהו ובוהו וחושך על פני תהום, ורוח אלוהים מרחפת מעל פני המים, ויאמר אלוהים ויהי אור ויהי אור. You know, I wonder, can you recite the first few lines of the Bible by heart in your native language, be it English or any other? I mean, it just came to me, this question. Okay, so for the English version, I do need to look it up, so just a second. And so it goes, in English, King James Version. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Now, firstly, I want to just point out a distinction between English and Hebrew. In Hebrew, the verb that is attached to God's creation is one that is solely attached to God itself. It's a unique verb that you can only say about God. I mean, you can say metaphorically that an offer in Hebrew, that an offer created a world, Sofer bara olam, but this is actually a metaphor because an offer does not, in fact, actually create a world. It creates a version of the world in words and so on, or a simulation of the world. And in Hebrew, we say bara for God's creation and yatzar for humans' creation. And we do not have this distinction in English because in English, a man or a person can create a chair, a computer, whatever. And God also creates. I mean, we use the same exact word. Now, secondly, I want to speak shortly about this moment, which is, I would contend, the most universal moment in the whole of the Bible. We do not meet the people of Israel. We actually meet no humans, but we don't meet the people of Israel. We don't meet any distinction that is related to any religious characteristics, except for the fact that the belief is, of course, that God created, this mysterious being created the world. And this universal moment, if we consider the 3 very important religions that are based on the Bible, on the Hebrew Bible, or at least recognizes authority to some extent, if we speak about Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, or some scholars of each religion took issue with the fact that the Bible starts with such a universal moment. And just to give an example, we remember that one of the Gospels starts with the word, "In the beginning was the Word," Logos, and a word that is usually refers to Jesus Christ in the most basic understanding, let's say. So a lot of scholars, as I said, a lot of religious interpreters needed to insert various according to their religion, various religion religious aspects into this very universal moment. And the Jewish sages, the sages of the Talmud, were no different, because we found there's a midrash, a very interesting book of compilation of sayings and thoughts and discussions of Talmudic sages who lived throughout the first centuries. And this midrash, Bereshit Rabbis, as the name suggests, talks solely about the book of Genesis. Bereshit in Hebrew is Genesis. And in just essentially the first story or the first lines of this book, we see a discussion about the word, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. And in this version of the story, we get a very interesting insight or an idea that just like a king does not build his palace from his own mind, but by using an architect, and this architect has various notebooks and pages with plans of this exact palace that he wants to create, the same is true of God. When he created the world, he didn't use his own mind or only his own mind, but actually took up the Torah, the Hebrew Bible, and looked at it and read it. And the first line said, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." And God, reading this description of him going to create the heavens and the earth, did exactly that. Now, this fascinating story, which I keep returning to each time I read Genesis, is actually, it's such a fascinating story to me, because for many, many years I read the beginning lines of the beginning verses of the Bible and thought about the fact that actually, if God created the world with words, think about it, we don't get the exact word, because let there be light is not the first thing God says. First he creates the heavens and the earth, then he sees the voids, the how messy everything is, then he creates the light, and then he can see and start to separate things, which we will going to read about in the next episode. But essentially, we don't, as I said, get the words that he created the world with. Now, in this version, in the Talmudic version of Bereshit Rabbah, we do get the words. And the words were, whether God said them or just read them, is the first lines of the world is, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And we get sort of a paradox, and we start to think about, okay, what does it mean that the Torah or the Hebrew Bible are the plans of creation? They're like some sort of written form for the world. Does it mean that they predict the future? Does it mean that we're all written in it because the beginning is written in it and everything flows from the beginning? There's a whole lot of questions we can ask ourselves just using this idea, which is, as I said, endlessly fascinating idea. Now, with this midrash, we're going to end this video right now. We can say much more about the first few moments of creation, but in the next episode, we're going to talk about the first few days of creation. So, see you next time.